We've looked at old WWE games that had features in them that are currently not in WWE 2K games, so it would only make sense that we showcase and look at some of the features that have made their way back into the series since it became WWE 2K. All of the features and modes that are mentioned in this video are things that were removed when the games were published by THQ. We will not be mentioning things that have been removed since becoming WWE 2K and then brought back to the series. For example, mixed tag matches being in WWE 2K14, removed in WWE 2K15, and then brought back in WWE 2K20. All footage is from WWE 2K22, but we will make sure to mention which game brought back each feature. So let's get right into it. Starting from WWE 2K19, the Hell in a Cell was changed to reflect what a Hell in a Cell match actually looked like. If you remember before then, the roof looked kinda weird, and there was only 2 breakable panels, when other games like the GameCube WWE games allowed you to break 4 panels, and had a roof that was much more accurate. WWE 2K17 brought back 2 big features that everyone loved in the SmackDown vs Raw days. Those 2 features are being going backstage during matches and fighting in the crowd. The last game to allow us to go backstage during matches was SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, so we had to wait a whole long time before getting this back in the games. And when it was brought back, it got little improvements, like being able to go backstage in much more match types like the Hell in a Cell match. Now that we got the feature back, people might forget how badly this was wanted for many years. So it's great that we finally got this back. As for crowd fighting, this was also updated, with there being more crowd areas to fight in. Although we have to say that the crowd area from like SmackDown vs Raw 2007 was much more fun to fight in, due to having more interactive elements like grabbing crowd signs, climbing up scaffolding, and jumping off it. But again, like going backstage, many people wanted it, and it's great to have it in the games now. Speaking of backstage and SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, WWE 2K22 updated the backstage area and added a second floor to the backstage. Players of Here Comes the Pain might remember that the backstage area in that game had a similar setup, with the game allowing you to take the fight up to a second floor.
Everything at your disposal to get the win. Otherwise, what's the point? Oh no! Holy hell! That's it! Fearless dive from these backstage platforms.
If you've been a long-time player of WWE games, then you might remember when SmackDown Just Bring It was released. It featured 8-man match options for the first time ever. However, it would be the only game to allow this, as in the next game, Shut Your Mouth, the match option would be removed. This was due to the much better designed character models in Shut Your Mouth, which made it harder to have 8 wrestlers on the screen all at once. It took a long time to get this back, as it wouldn't return until WWE 2K18. We doubt it's a coincidence that this happened once the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions of the game were scrapped after WWE 2K17. The much increased hardware power meant that 8 wrestlers were once again possible. Maybe 10-man matches might be on offer once WWE 2K series moves to PS5 and Series XS only. One of the best match types in early WWE games was the triple threat tag team options, especially the ladder matches. They were so chaotic, wild and fun, which meant it had to be removed for some reason. Starting from SmackDown vs Raw 2009, the option to have these matches had been removed and took a very long time to once again return, starting with WWE 2K19. Triple threat tag team options returned with many more matches to choose from, like TLC and Hell in a Cell. All the way back in 2002, WWF Raw on the original Xbox released, and it was the first wrestling game to ever let you interrupt wrestlers' entrances. You just pressed a button, and you'll be seen interrupting the entrance and starting the fight early. It was such a great feature, but for some reason, it never made its way over to the main series until WWE 2K16, where it was expanded on further in WWE 2K17 with tag team breakouts and post-match breakouts being added to the games. Here's the big one: GM mode, or MyGM mode as it's now called. This was removed in SmackDown vs Raw 2009 and is probably the most requested feature to return in a WWE game ever. Every year since it was removed, everyone demanded this mode to be in the game. It took almost 15 years, but in WWE 2K22 it finally returned. Now, albeit it wasn't up to the standards of the previous GM modes, with many features missing or having certain limitations, although WWE 2K23 sounds like it will be going in a much better direction with some big additions to the mode. Can you imagine a WWE game without a career mode? Well, we got exactly that in WWE 13 and WWE 2K14. Showcase modes took career modes' places, and although these modes were great, you couldn't help but feel like the games were lacking without a career mode. WWE games and career modes just go together so well. So it was great to see them starting with WWE 2K15 that the career mode would return as My Career, which would eventually evolve into MyRise mode.
I agree, Corey. What a victory!
What the heck's going on?
There's some kind of commotion in the ring, but I can't make out what's happening.
There's your answer. The Toll Man has delivered a strong and clear message. Doomsday has officially arrived. The NXT North American Champion told Karrion Kross to get in line, and apparently he didn't want to wait. Tick-tock.
Editing WWE superstars is something we've come to expect from WWE 2K games, as it's been a thing for so long now. This feature was added starting with WWE 2K15, but what you might not remember is that this was almost as highly requested as GM mode, with many players being disappointed that it was not added each year, with those players bringing up games like No Mercy, which allowed us to edit superstars. For many years, if a wrestler's attire was outdated, it was pretty much, oh well, wait until next year. However, WWE 2K15 allowed us to finally edit wrestlers' attires and keep them in date until the next game. One of the best things that WWE 2K22 brought back was the inclusion of separate men's and women's MyRise or career modes. Each career was completely unique with totally different stories within. This was much better than WWE 2K20's attempt to tie both careers into one, as the story fell completely flat and was one of the worst career modes in WWE Games history. WWE 2K22 MyRise was a massive step up in quality, and both career modes were incredibly fun to play.
Their first encounter.
Wait a second, Josie's locked in an armbar. Will this be it? Will Josie Jane tap?
Hold on, her shoulders are on the mat.
Josie taps.
The referee just counted the pinfall.
But Josie might have tapped first.
So that was 11 awesome things that WWE 2K brought back to WWE games. Did we miss anything off the list? Make sure to let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
Down through the table!